Oh my God, can't even cope.
Hello. Happy New Year. Happy 2022. You sexy motherfuckers. Um, Welcome to the first episode of Can't Even Cope 2022. It's my birthday month this month. It is January. I love January. I love Aquarius people, for all my fellow Aquarians out there. And I'm so excited to be back. I haven't recorded an episode for quite a while, but I'm so fucking excited to be here. And this is going to be a good one. So, what I wanted to talk about on this episode is what was I going to call it? Catfish Generation, because oh my God, we live in a time right now where everybody is online and everybody is just consumed by social media. And it actually blows my mind. And I got so sucked into it myself. It was definitely something that affected me quite massively last year, to the point where I didn't even realize like how fucking brainwashed I was by the filters on Instagram and comparing myself to others on Instagram. It actually blew my fucking mind. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about, because I think it's really important to remember that trying to impress people on the internet is such a waste of energy. It's such a waste of time. It's just such a waste of this one life that we've got to make it the best life that we possibly can. And so I want to share my experience with you, because I know for a lot of people, I get told all the time, like, oh yeah, like it's easy for you, Kate, because you're so confident, or you're so this, or you're so that, blah, blah, blah. You know, I've heard all the stories under the sun, but at the end of the day, I'm still a fucking human being, as much as I wish I wasn't, because I think humans can be so stupid and we self-sabotage ourselves all the time. And we do this, we honestly just, human behavior blows my mind sometimes. And you know, common sense isn't common practice. And although we all know common sense, for some reason, as humans, we just don't tend to practice it. And it blows my mind. And I'm guilty of it too sometimes. So I want to share this because this is what happened to me. So I got to the point, so most of you guys will know this already that have been listening for a while. I have an online business. I mainly run it through Instagram. And so I am online quite a lot. And I got to the point where I would never post anything unless it was like aesthetically pleasing. I even hate that term. It's so like, oh, it's so cringe. I wouldn't post anything unless it was like aesthetically pleasing on my Instagram feed. And like all my photos had to match, the color schemes had to match. If it didn't match, I couldn't post it, even though I wanted to post a photo, like if it was a good photo. And I got to the point where I was using like filters on every single photo. Don't get me wrong, I love filters. I think they're cool and they do look good, and heaps of my friends use them, and good for them, like absolutely no judgment. But what it did for my own mind was I got to the point where I would look at a photo without a filter and I would feel ugly as fuck. Like that is not good. That is not healthy. And so I got to the point where, you know, I'd look at my Instagram feed and I'd be like, yeah, I'm so hot. Like I look so fucking good, feeling good. And then someone take a photo of me and show me, and I'd be like, holy shit, is that what I fucking look like? That is embarrassing. When in reality, I look fine, and I've looked fine all along, but it ended up warping my mind from all the filters. And I don't just mean, so there's like filters that you can have on your feed that kind of like alter the colors but don't change the way that you look. Like those are all good, you know, that's fine, all good. But there's also the filters on your stories that I was using every single day that fucking warp your face. Like you don't even look like your normal self. It's so bizarre. And it would automatically, when I open my stories, I'd automatically have like a filter on my face, and then I'd turn it off and be like, holy fuck, I look so bad naturally. Like that's the point that I got to, where I felt so insecure. And I would like look at other people on Instagram and be like, they're so beautiful. Like I would have to use a filter to be able to look half as good as they look, when in reality, they're all using fucking filters too. And that's not what they look like in real life either. And in real life, they are just as beautiful. But, you know, for some reason, we're all out here trying to fucking, I don't know what we're trying to do. What are we trying to do, guys? Like, somebody enlighten me, because it got to the point where I was sick of feeling like that. And I was sick of feeling like I wasn't pretty enough or good enough just because I didn't look a certain way, like the filters make you look, which isn't even real. People don't look like that unless they've had like thousands of dollars worth of plastic surgery, which, you know, we don't really want to look like that anyway. I think, you know, the best thing about us is that we're all so unique. We don't all look like each other. We're all different. We have different features that make us look, you know, beautiful the way that we are. And I think it's so important to embrace that. And so I got to a point where I was so fed up of feeling like shit from social media. But it was all my own doing. It's always our own doing. It always comes down to us. Like, we are the people making the choices. We're faced with choices every single day, right? To decide what we do. And so I was deciding to use the filters and to use the presets and to have a fucking aesthetically pleasing Instagram. And it was tiring, and it was consuming energy that, you know, I could have been putting in other areas. I'm the type of person that I don't regret anything, and I don't look back and dwell. And at the end of the day, it taught me a lot. It taught me the importance of, you know, realizing that Instagram is just, it's like you see really fuck all of people's lives on Instagram. You see what people want you to see. You see what people choose to post. You don't see all the behind the scenes stuff. You don't see what goes on behind closed doors in their lives. You just get to see their highlight reels. And at the end of the day, we're all fucking human, and we all go through the same shit, and we all experience the same shit. And, you know, it's so important to remember that, and remember that just comparison is an absolute joy killer. Like, comparison is, what do they say? Comparison is the thief of all joy. And it's so true, because as long as you spend your time comparing yourself to others, you're robbing yourself of living and loving your own life. And that's the point that I got to. And so I got to a point where I decided no more filters. I was like, I'm not going to use filters anymore. None on my stories, none on my feed, like none of it. And I wanted to just throw myself in the deep end and do that, because my confidence levels were definitely getting lower from social media and the filters. And so I decided, nah, I've had enough. Like, I'm done with this shit. And so I made a choice, and it was the best choice that I ever made, because literally within about a week, I already started to feel better. And when I would open up my stories to do a story, you know, on my Instagram, I would look at myself and I would slowly be like, oh, I actually look quite good today. And it's gotten to the point now where I'm at now, like, it's been a couple of months, it's probably been like 4 or 5 months since I stopped using filters. And I just feel so good in my own skin. And it blows my mind. Hindsight is a funny thing. And often we don't realize this shit until we're like out the other side. But hindsight's a funny thing. And it's funny looking back, because if I put a filter on myself now, like on my stories, those ones that actually warp my face, like warp your face, I'm like, what the fuck? I look weird as fuck. Like, I don't even look normal. I don't look like a normal human. It's actually weird as. And I'm not throwing, like, you know, I'm not judging people that use them. If you use them, all good, babe. Like, you fucking do you. I don't even have a judgmental bone in my body anymore. I just don't have time for it. And as long as you're happy in your own skin and you're fine, that's absolutely fine. But I wasn't. And so I made the choice to stop the filters. Plus, it's also really important to me to be a good role model to the people in my network. I know that I have influence over a lot of women in my network. And so I think it's important for me. I do feel like I have an obligation and a duty to be a good role model for the people that watch me. And I don't want people to sit there comparing themselves to people on social media and feeling like shit like I did. That's not the type of message that I want to portray. And I just think there's so much more to life than sitting around on social media and comparing yourself to others. Like, go out and live your fucking life. I wasn't doing that. And it played its toll on my mental health for a bit there. But I'm glad that I ended up seeing the light, and I was just like, you know what, this ain't for me. Like, this life ain't for me. And another thing as well is that I spend way less time on social media now, and it's so good. Like, I am just feeling like on a whole nother level. I have literally had a smile on my face every single day this year. No joke. I've literally had a smile on my face every single day of 2022. We're only 7 days into the year. But so far, so good. And I literally feel like I've built this rock solid mindset where nothing fucking phases me. I believe that what's meant for me will always find me. I believe that, you know, people come into your life for reasons, seasons, or a lifetime. So people come into your life to teach you things, to be there for a while, to be a part of a chapter, or they're there forever. And if people come and people go, I'm okay with that. So if people come into my life and then they leave my life, that's all good with me. That's absolutely fine with me. It doesn't faze me at all, because I know that it's always this or something better. It's always this or something better. I truly believe that. And so if something or someone comes into my life and then walks out, or, you know, an opportunity comes and goes, it's because it's not meant for me and there's actually something better coming my way. And in life, it's all about perspective. If you can adopt a perspective in life that actually benefits you and your happiness, like, your everyday life will be so much better. I have been able to develop this perspective in life where, like everything I just said, you know, everything happens for a reason. There's just no stress in my life. I've gotten to a point where there's no stress in my life, because what the fuck is there to stress about? If it's out of my control and there's nothing I can do about it, what on earth is me stressing about it going to do? I see people all around me stressing all the time about things that they can't control. And guess what? Stressing about it isn't going to change the situation. It's not going to make it better. And it certainly isn't going to make it worse. So what is the point? Like, you're better off sitting down and going, okay, well, what can I control in this situation? And actually focusing on that, rather than focusing on the things that are out of your control and you can't do anything about it anyway, because you're wasting your precious energy that you should be protecting at all costs, and focusing on right now, and what you can do right now to create, you know, whatever it is that you want to create moving forward, and making choices. Like I said, we always have choices. And at the end of the day, the difference between, I think, people that are like happy and satisfied and fulfilled and people who aren't is perspective. And you know, we can't always control what happens to us in life, but we get to control and we get to choose how we react, and what we do moving forward after things happen to us. And at the end of the day, things don't happen to us, they happen for us, no matter how big or small, no matter how good or bad. Everything is happening for us to teach us something and to make us better people and better versions of ourselves. So I just think it's so important to remember that. And going back to the whole social media thing, like, I could look at it and like, oh my God, I wasted a whole year of my life fucking around with social media, comparing myself to people, to squares on the internet that I don't even know. But I don't look at it like that. I look at it as it was an opportunity to learn, and at the end of the day, you sometimes need to know what you don't want in order to know what you do want. And I know now that I don't want to be the type of person that spends, you know, 95% of my time on social media comparing myself to strangers on the internet. Like, that is not for me. And I don't want to be the type of role model that warps my fucking face. And then what that does is that causes a ripple effect, and everyone in my network thinking that, you know, they need to do that as well in order to be good enough or whatever, because that's what I felt like. So I don't want anyone to feel like that. And so I'm going to give you guys a challenge. If you're watching this right now and this has like, and it's like hit a nerve or it's triggered you in some way, or you're relating to what I'm saying right now, I really feel like a lot of women out there will. Don't use filters for like the next 7 days. That was all I did at the beginning. I was like, I'm just going to give it a go. So don't use filters for like the next 7 days. And tell me how you feel in 7 days. Like, tag me in your stories, do a story, tag me my Can't Even Cope page and my Kate Teresa VP page as well. So I can share and celebrate the fuck out of you, because it's cool. It is cool to be yourself and not hide who you really are. I think the most beautiful people in life are the most authentic and the ones who show up unapologetically themselves, and not try and hide behind these filters and, dull yourself down. Why? Like, just be who you are. I think it's such a beautiful thing. And I really admire people who do that and just be themselves. So that was, I wanted to talk about, was my experience. And, life's too fucking short to be doing that stuff. Like, if you actually think about it, you're putting filters on your face that make you look like a different person. Why are you doing that? Life is too short to be doing that. Just be who the fuck you are. Remember when Instagram first came out? We just posted shit just as we are. We didn't use filters. We didn't use presets. Why does it matter? It doesn't define you. And I used to think as well, like, I won't be successful in business unless my feed is like fucking perfect and aesthetically pleasing. Bullshit. The more I posted just as me, and stop the filters, the more people actually engage with me and reach out to me about my business. So it just goes to show that the more real you are, the more successful you will actually be in life. And I have definitely learned that over the last year or two. So it's super, 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 super important to just be who you are. The only thing I ever do is I use black and white. I really like black and white filters now. I fucking love them. I just think they're such a vibe. I also really love my hat that I'm wearing right now. I definitely think this is a fucking cool hat. And I never worn hats before. I always thought I wasn't a hat person, but I'm loving this hat. So good. Anyway, I love you. I love you guys so much. It's so good to actually be recording. And for those of you who are listening on Spotify, I did a video version of this on YouTube that you can watch. And I'm literally just lying on my bed. And that is another reminder to stop waiting until you're fucking perfect or you have everything figured out to do what you want to do. Like, I want to record a podcast. I want to talk to you guys. I don't need an office. I don't need everything all planned out, have all the resources. I've got my fucking microphone sitting on my bed, and I'm recording from my computer on my bed because we don't need to be perfect. And it's all about progress. Progress, not perfection. Fucking progress, not perfection. Honestly, it's just, I've wasted so much of my time trying to be perfect, when in reality people just want me to be myself, and I just want you to be yourself. I want you to be yourself. I want you to be happy in your own skin, and nothing makes me happier than seeing people truly happy in themselves. So go out there, say goodbye to the filters. I believe in you. I love you, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Even cope.